Hi everyone, welcome to another video. My name is Gary and I'm here with the Wax Nostalgic Network to tell you guys about 3 new pops that I got over the past few weeks. Let's see, where should I begin?
A clue.
What?
A clue. A clue.
A clue? Where? A clue! More specifically, Blue's Clues. Now, this is Blue from Blue's Clues, a series that I was far too old to watch, but for some reason it still sucked me in. I remember whenever it first debuted and I was like, why am I watching Nick Jr.? And furthermore, why do I love this? What is Blue's Clues if you have been living under a rock since 1999? Well, Blue's Clues is an educational live-action animated television series that premiered on Nickelodeon's Nick Jr. block on September 8, 1996. The series starred Steve Burns as Steve, who hosted the show from 1996 until 2002, when he left the show and was replaced by Donovan Patton, who played Steve's brother Joe. Tracy Page Johnson served as one of the series' creators, as well as the voice of Blue. Now, Malcolm Gladwell's summary of the series is about as succinct as they come, so I'll just read portions of that. Steve, the host, presents the audience with a puzzle involving Blue the animated dog. To help the audience unlock the puzzle, Blue leaves behind a series of clues, which are objects marked with one of her paw prints. At the climax of the show, Steve sits down in a comfortable chair to think. He puzzles over Blue's 3 clues and attempts to come up with the answer. The series premiered to great fanfare and was, at the time, the highest rated premiere of any Nickelodeon program, and quickly became crucial for the network, and it enjoyed a healthy 10-year run until August of 2006 when it aired its final episode. An episode which apparently introduced us to Blue's baby brother. Wow. Cousin Oliver much? The series was rebooted in 2019 as Blue's Clues and You, and featured a new friend to Blue played by Joshua De La Cruz, and also features appearances by Steve and Donovan on occasion. Now, as I said, Blue's Clues was a show that I was way out of the age range for, but for whatever reason, it appealed to me. It was really like the first show I remember with the call and answer response thing between the host and the children. It also taught me some early sign language, you know, like Steve would always say, thank you, and things of that nature. So it was very educational even for me as someone who, you know, was perhaps a little too old to be watching it. But I saw that they were releasing a Blue, and I have, even though like I'm a cat person, I still have this collection of dog Funko Pops, and I thought that Blue would go really nicely in that. So let's open her up and take a look. You can see there's a nice little paw print on the inside of the box whenever you lift up the tab. So that's nice. And Blue, she is very cute. You can see she's got her paw up, and so she's stamping a clue somewhere, presumably, and then she's in a seated fashion. You can see her little tail, and I love the way that her little back paw is kind of coming up around the front. And there's her other paw, complete with the spots from the series. And my only complaint is that, you know, there's writing on the bottom here as opposed to the paw print, but it's still really, really cute, and I think that it'll display nicely. I also just love the shade of blue that she is. I mean, I think it's super nice. So that is Blue from Blue's Clues. That's the first of my 3 retro prizes. Next up is Courage, the Cowardly Dog. Courage the Cowardly Dog is an American animated horror comedy television series created by John R. Dilworth for Cartoon Network. The series ran for 4 seasons between 1999 and 2002. Each episode follows Courage, a kind yet easily frightened dog that lives with his 2 elderly owners in a 2-story isolated farmhouse in what consists of a large desert-like area in the middle of Kansas. The nearest town to the farmhouse is a fictional town with the literal name of Nowhere. Courage and his owners frequently encounter monsters, aliens, demons, mad scientists, zombies, vampires, and other such perils involving the paranormal or supernatural that are attracted to nowhere. Courage usually has to overcome his fears to protect his owners who have a nasty knack for walking into trouble. Marty Grabstein was the voice of Courage for the entirety of the show, even though, much to my chagrin, they chose to make him speak much less in later seasons, alongside Thea White as Muriel and Lionel Wilson as Eustace for the first 3 seasons, and Arthur Anderson replacing Lionel after his passing. I was never really like a big Cartoon Network fan. They had some shows that I watched, but I wasn't like totally into it. I was more of a Disney and Nickelodeon kid. But Courage was the one that really caught my eye for whatever reason. I guess because it felt like I'd never seen anything quite like it before. And that remains true. There's not a lot of horror-themed children's shows based around a dog who has to protect his owners. And even better, the dog is scared of everything. So that adds a nice little element of comedy and uniqueness to it that I really liked. And when I saw that this pop was coming out, I had to have it. In fact, I think that Courage and Blue were announced on the same day. And I bought both of them as soon as I could. So let's check out Courage. You can see that he's part of the Cartoon Network line. Also included are Johnny Bravo, Dee Dee, and Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory, Courage, and then Cow and Chicken. And I don't know what's happened with Funko recently, but their pops look so good now. I saw also from Powerpuff Girls, Fuzzy Lumpkins, who's not listed here, so I'm not sure if he's a store exclusive or if he's a part of a different wave, but he looks incredible. And I think this Courage looks amazing. Johnny Bravo looks great, Dexter, Dee Dee, all of them look really cool, but I just wasn't into those shows as much as I was into Courage. And, so it seems like Funko is now printing things on the inside of their packaging, which is really cool. This has Courage's famous quote, "The things I do for love." I can't do that nearly as well as Marty can, but let's check out Courage. So Courage looks really amazing in my opinion. He's got his little feet and he's got his hands crossed because he's afraid. He's got his teeth showing. He's got the little cavity in his teeth that was so iconic in the animation. And he's just got this look of, oh boy, I'm in trouble now. I love the way this looks. His little tail, and then you've got his spot on the back, which actually looking at it could almost be one of Blue's clues. He's on a peg which does not come off, I don't think, and I don't want to risk breaking it, so I'm not going to try to pull it off any harder. But yeah, it's a great way to make him stand, and it almost looks like he's jumping in the air in fear, which I think is a really cool dynamic. Now, you know, thinking of this scaredy dog, and then probably the most legendary scaredy dog of all time, Marty just recently reprised the role of Courage for Scooby-Doo Straight Out of Nowhere, I believe it's called. And this pop will go great with my Scooby Pops because, you know, they're two scaredy dogs. And so I haven't seen that movie yet, but I understand it's Thea White's last performance as Muriel, as she passed away shortly thereafter. And it was a very special... okay, I'm not trying to humble brag, but I'm friends with Marty, and talking to him, I could tell that it was a very special moment that he got to join her one last time, and I'm glad that it was able to happen. And who better for Courage to team up with than Scooby-Doo? And last but not least is one of the most iconic characters from Jurassic Park. You could almost say that he was like the DNA of the series. Let that one sink in. Of course, I'm talking about Mr. DNA. Mr. DNA is a cartoon character that resembles an anthropomorphic DNA helix with the face and arms. He is the mascot for Jurassic Park and for Jurassic World. In Jurassic Park, Mr. DNA appears in videos to help visitors understand the processes involved in the creation of the dinosaurs at Jurassic Park. The character itself was created for the film for virtually the same reasons, to provide exposition for the film's audience. A video starring him and engines founder, John Hammond, is played at a theater located in the visitors center of the park before a tour. In Jurassic Park, he was voiced by Greg Burson. He was voiced by Colin Trevorrow in Jurassic World, and by Jeff Bergman, that's right, Bugs Bunny himself, in Camp Cretaceous. So here he is. When I saw that this guy was announced, I had to get it. As you can see, he is a Target exclusive, which can at times be problematic because Target stuff can occasionally be really hard to get your hands on. But this order came through, and I'm super happy it did. I saw pictures of him on the internet, but I was not prepared for how incredible he would look in the box, and I cannot wait to unbox him. Now, if you look at the back of the box, you can see that he's not actually included on the list. This is the original list, like the original wave of Alan Grant, John Hammond, Ian Malcolm, Tyrannosaurus Rex, Velociraptor, Dilophosaurus, and Dennis Nedry. So he did not get any sort of special packaging aside from the fact that he is pictured there, but he is not included in the lineup. And this is also not resembling a new wave. So I gotta say, off the bat, I'm a little disappointed because there's no DNA or Jurassic Park logo or anything under the flap. I was really getting into that. But he's so cool. He's got a nice little stand similar to Courage, which is the only way that this figure would stand up. And you can see that his head is see-through, and it's see-through all the way around, so you can actually probably see reflection of me inside of him. Wow. This pop is so cool, though. I kind of got into the Jurassic Park pops a little bit, but then I got out of them because they just made so many. So now all I've got is Sexy Goldblum and Mr. DNA. And I will not be getting rid of either one of these because I think they are super cool. I love it so much. So to my understanding, in the book, and I read the book, meaning I read some of the book because it's really, really long and really hard to read. But I read some of it, and as I recall, the Mr. DNA character existed in the book, but most of the exposition was done by Henry Wu, who was in the film, but I believe Spielberg had the genius foresight to say, hey, let's make Mr. DNA into an animated character that gives us the exposition as opposed to just a guy with a clipboard telling us what's going on. And I think it was a brilliant move because Mr. DNA is easily one of the most popular aspects of that film. And now I have him to sit proudly on my shelf, and I love it so much. But there they are, my 3 90s pops, retro pops that I just recently got. And I gotta say, Funko, you've been knocking it out of the park lately. I keep telling myself I'm done with them, but then they do something like this, and I'm back in. What can I say? At any rate, thank you guys for watching. Do you have any of these? Do you love them? What other, like, kind of obscure 90s characters would you like to see made into a Funko? Let's start a conversation. I'm excited to hear what you have to say. And until next time, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe to this to stay on top of all the content that I put out. And don't forget to stay nostalgic. Thank you guys.